If simple if is called one-way branching, if else is two-way branching, and if else if is called as multiple way branch statement. If all of them are not true, then it's going to execute the default statement or last statement. So this is the syntax of or general form of if else if construct. So break statement is used to come out of these case labels. So each case label must have a break statement. Dear students, welcome to CS classes. I am Ravi Kumar KR, lecturer in Computer Science, Vidhyaashram PU College, Temple of Excellence, Mysore. Students, let us start our session with the programming constructs, if else if and switch case. In our previous session, we have discussed about another two types of constructs, that is if else and if, simple if construct. Now let us start with two more different types of programming constructs. They are if else if and switch case. Now let us see what is if else if statement or if else if programming construct. This structure helps the programming to decide the execution of a statement from multiple statements based on a condition. And there will be more than one condition to be tested, and therefore this statement is also called as multiple way branch statement. What is if else if statements? Another type of programming construct. And when we are using this, so we are using the construct where there are more than one condition to be checked or more than one condition to be tested. If you observe that, if you remember that in previous session, we have discussed about if and if else. In both the if and if else construct, we used to give only one condition. But here is an option for the programmer to give or to work with more than one condition. So it is called as multiple way branching. And if you remember that, if simple if is called one-way branching, if else is two-way branching, and if else if is called as multiple way branch statement or multiple way branch construct. Now let us see the syntax of this or general form. If test condition is 1, statement 1, else if test condition 2, statement 2, and it goes on. Then last one again else if test condition is n, statement 10, else default statement. Students, please observe the syntax of this. Here if you observe this, there are 1, 2, and here you can have n number of conditions here. So if at all if there are more than one condition to be tested, we can make use of if else if construct. Here first test condition 1. This is if condition is 1, it execute this statement only. It execute only this statement, and after that it comes out of if else if construct. Please do remember, here these construct execute only one set of statements. So accordingly, in this example, if this condition is true, it executes this statement number 1. After that, it comes out of if else if construct. Similarly, now if condition fails, if condition 1 fails, then it enters the second condition. So only the condition fails, it goes to next condition for checking. So here test condition, it is true. If it is true, it executes the statement 2 or second statement and comes out of if else if construct. Suppose even this also fails, it goes to next successive condition. Ultimately, it goes to the last condition. But here, if none of the conditions are true, suppose in any example, in some examples, if you come across the condition, so if none of the conditions are true, it's going to execute the last part, that is else part statement, that is the statement to be executed. So, and here we are closing if else if with else statement. Please do remember, observe this here. We are starting with F and end if else if construct with else here. So, if none of these conditions, if any of the condition is not true, if all of them are not true, then it's going to execute the default statement or last statement. So this is the syntax of or general form of if else if construct. Now let us see the one example for this. So here is an example to print the result of a student or grade of a student. So accordingly, we observe this. This says one distinction is 1 grade, first class, second class, and promoted, and next one is 5. If you observe this, there are 5 conditions to be checked in this example. So we can make out. So if there are more than one condition to be checked, we have to make use of if else if programming construct. Accordingly, if you observe this, and all the conditions are different for different grading system. So look at the first condition. Here, what is the first condition here? If the marks is greater than 85% or 85. Here, students, you should be knowing that marks is the value has to be entered by the user or the programmer. So accordingly, the marks entered by the user, accordingly is going to get us or gives us the grade or result. If for example, the first condition is this 85. Suppose any student or the marks entered is above 85% or 85, is going to give the result as distinction, and after this it comes out of if else if construct. So at any point of time it execute only one set of statements. So suppose if condition fails, it goes to condition number 2, that is greater than 60. It checks for this condition. If it is true, it print first class, comes out of it. Similarly, suppose it goes one by one after another in the same order. So even at last, if none of these conditions are true, it prints the answer as detained or fail. So this is how it's going to work. So this is called multiple way branching statement. Now if we observe this, let us take an example now. If the marks scored by a student is 86, then according to this condition, is going to print the result distinction and comes out of it. Suppose if the marks scored by student is, for example, 40. For example, 40. Look at this. Here gets an 85, condition fails. It comes to second condition. Then 40. 40 is greater than 60. No, condition fails. It jumps to next condition. Next one is 50. 40 is greater than 50. No, condition, again the condition fails here. So then comes to next condition. Is greater than 35. Yes, 40 is greater than 35. So you'll get the answer as print promoted, or you'll get the result as promoted. So this is how this statement works. Now let us move on to next slide. Compound interest. Here condition if amount is greater than 20,000, discount is 8%. This is greater than 12,000, discount is 6%. And this amount is greater than 10,000, amount discount is 4%. And if all the conditions are fail other than this condition, discount is 0. So look at this example here. Here this is a condition, first condition, and this is a second condition, and this is condition number 3. So there are 3 conditions to be checked. So obviously we have to make use of if else if construct. So first condition is amount greater than 20,000, and here amount is a variable or the value to be entered by the user or the programmer. Accordingly, it works with this. For example, if the amount entered is 25,000, for example, if amount entered by the user is 25,000, check for the condition. 25,000 is greater than 20,000. Yes, condition is true. It executes this statement, means it calculates discount at 8%, comes out of if-else-if construct. Now, if the amount entered by the user is, for example, 5,000, if it's 5,000, and here check first condition is 5,000 is greater than this. No, condition fails here. Even this condition also fails, and this condition also fails if 5,000 greater than 10,000. No. Again, if all the conditions are false, then it jumps to or it goes to last statement, that is else here. So it says discount is 0. So this is how if-else-if construct works. Next construct is nested if statement. So nested if statement. So it is possible to write an if statement within another if statement. These statements are called as nested if statement. So what is the nested if statement? We have learned in our previous slide or in previous session if else, and if else if. So if at all if there is if statement within another if statement. So one if statement is within another if statement, it is called as nested if statement. Observe this syntax now. Now here if test condition 1, if condition 2, statement 1, else statement 2, else if state condition is 3, statement 3, else statement 4. If you observe this, this is one if else statement, and this if else statement is present inside if part of it. Okay, now if you look into this if else statement, this if else statement is inside this else part. So here this if else statement is inside if condition, and this if else statement is inside else part of if else statement. So this is the one statement, and another if else statement is inside if and else statement. This is one if statement inside another if statement is called nested if statement. So this is the syntax of nested if statement. Now let us look into the another type of construct, that is multiple selection construct or switch statement or switch case statement. So this is if there are more than two alternatives to be selected, multiple selection construct is used. What is the condition here? More than two alternatives. So if there are more than two alternatives, then we can make use of a switch statement or is a switch construct. It is also known as switch case statement or switch case construct. Now let us see the general form of this or syntax. Here the condition or the construct starts with switch here. So switch, this is an expression. So switch, an expression, and here observe this. Say the switch case starts here and ends at this part. So this switch statement starts from here and ends here. In between we have number of case. That is the reason it is also known as switch case statement or switch statement. So accordingly, case label 1, statement 1, break statement. Case label 2, statement 2, break statement. Similarly, you can have n number of cases inside one switch statement. So label n, then statement n, break, and last one is default, and this is default statement. Then we are closing switch case statement here. So what is the meaning of this here? Inside switch, we can have n number of cases. So n number of cases represents multiple selection or more than one options. Here this is one option. Here case is a reserved word or a keyword, and this is the constant. Here label 1. So if the expression, this expression results into one value. So that particular result or the value, if it is equal to this label 1, then it execute these statements and comes out of switch statement. I repeat once again. So here the expression, it is any mathematical or logical expression. So this expression results into one answer. If the result is equal to this label or label value, it executes this particular case statement. For example, the result is equivalent to label 2 or the constant or the values here, it executes these statements and comes out of switch case. Similarly, so here more than one option. So this is the meaning of multiple options. So then similarly we can have n number of cases. If the result is doesn't match with any of the case labels or any of the constant here, then the computer execute the default statement. So that is how it works, and here case refers to multiple options. Students, it is also known as normally we are using this for menu driven programs. What is a menu driven program? So I can give a simple example. If you go to any restaurants, you will be given a menu card. So you are going to select the items from the menu card. So here the menu card is the one where you can have number of options. So accordingly, from whatever is available on the menu card, those things you can order it and get it done. So if is the items not present in your menu card, then you cannot opt for it. Similarly, it is also this switch case is used to write a menu driven programs where the user can have multiple options for execution. Now let us see, and here please note down the important is break statement here. The important is break statement. So break statement is used to come out of this case labels. So each case label must have a break statement. So this break, because of this break statement, the control comes out of this switch case statement. If there is no break statement here, it goes to case label. That should not be a scenario, that should not happen. So in switch statement, only one case has to be executed. If there are more than one case to be executed, then it is understood that there might be chances of missing out the break statement. So break statement is compulsory, mandatory in all case labels. Now let us see an example for this. This example to find name of the day given day number. So for example, this is a program or this construct where we have to enter the number. Accordingly, it is going to print the day of a week. For example, here in this example, we assume that 1 is for Sunday, 2 for Monday. Similarly, for days, case 7 is for Saturday, and default is invalid day number. So according to the syntax here day number. So this is a value has to be entered by the user or the programmer. Suppose the value entered by the user, it must be between 1 and 7. So if other than this, then it's going to execute this statement. For example, here the user enters the day number as 1. So computer checks for this day 1. So this one checks for this matching. Does it check for this case 1? This one is equivalent to this case value. It is going to execute this statement, and accordingly it's going to print Sunday as the result, and because of break statement, it comes out of switch case statement. Similarly, if the user enters 6 as the day number, 6 here, so 6 doesn't match with this case, not even this, so it is going to match with 6. So accordingly, it executes this statement, that is print Friday. It is going to print Friday as the result and comes out of switch case. So suppose in this example, as I told you, user must enter the value between 1 and 7. Suppose the user enters 8 as the day number. 8 as the day number, then it checks for the condition here. Here 8 is not equal to, doesn't match with any of the cases mentioned here. So then it goes to default case. Accordingly, it's going to print invalid day number. So this is how the switch statement or switch case works. Students, in this session, we have discussed about if else if and switch case statements. Now, let us continue our discussion in my next session. Thank you very much.